Disappointment is a truly difficult feeling to navigate. You need a strategy, you need techniques to overcome this feeling. How do you then live to your most authentic self without necessarily being defeated by disappointment? You need to find your way out of this feeling, a way in which you could be fully strategic, you understand the main purpose behind that entire feeling itself. Dealing with disappointment is a truly fundamental aspect of life. You need the ability, the strategy, the intent to work out on dealing with disappointment itself. Because even if you don't really have expectations, but all of us have good intentions towards life. So, what do you do when things don't really work out your way? Hi, my name is Noma Tamsanamzazi. I create content on mental wellness and personal development. I truly and deeply thank you for joining me in this beautiful conversation today. I hope that wherever you are doing well, you are thriving, and you're just ready to take on the full burden of life. You're just ready to go full force into the kind of person that you're meant to be. But in this conversation today, I'd like us to talk about disappointment and how to navigate our way throughout the entire disappointing moments in our lives, right? But before that, if you haven't joined our community, please do make sure that you hit the notification bell, you subscribe to our channel, and just join and just be fully part of this community so that we could just grow together on different ways, different strategies to navigate on life and just finally attain the best versions of ourselves. So, this is Life Simplified, a podcast where we discuss all the inspirational, relevant information for your personal development. We dive deeper on the core values of humanity to see through how much possible is it for us to live a more deliberate, a more intentional kind of life so that we could just experience life and just get the most out of existence itself, out of life itself, so that at the end of the day we can just be truly proud of how we've lived, to just be fully present with all our experiences. But anyway, I truly and deeply thank you for joining me in this beautiful conversation. Let's please just dive into it. So I decided to do this video simply because I'm at a stage in my life where I'm constantly trying to self-actualize, to figure out and work out on my capabilities as a person, right? So it is such a beautiful level to be. It is such a beautiful stage to be in because really you stress more about what it is that you should be doing, what it is that you should be working out on as a person, right? And in this process, I get disappointed. And going forward, I will get disappointed, funny enough, right? And the worst part is that really, even other people as well, even if they're not at this stage, but they get disappointed in quite a lot of things. So just disappointment itself is just this resistance that is there in all of us. So I said to myself, why not just create a video on really disappointment and the ability to work out on it? Because at the end of the day, we want to be able to live a life in which we're just highly conscious of it. We're just highly conscious of everything we do. And if you can be conscious in everything that you do, then you can work out on quite that thing way better than someone who's just walking out right? So it is just such a beautiful experience indeed. So the most important thing is really for us to have this intent to work out on disappointment better than the other person, right? So that we get to that point where we can just preserve ourselves and just maintain our being in the midst of disappointment itself, right? Without really exerting negative influence upon others. Because yes, there are people who have lost themselves. They've lost themselves fully simply because of the disappointment. They were disappointed by whoever, by their parents. Unfortunately, they get disappointed by parents. They get disappointed by people whom they've trusted. So how do we really work out on disappointment and just be at a position where we can just unleash a greater potential within us without really struggling simply because we got disappointed? So what is disappointment, right? Disappointment is feeling unhappy or someone or something was not good as you hoped or expected. right? So it says that it's sadness caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. It also says that disappointment comes with complex emotions. It could be sadness, regret, despondency, and commonly anger, right? So it is very important for us to be aware, to be highly conscious when we are truly experiencing this feeling of disappointment. Because if you can't really point out at that point when you feel disappointment, you will struggle to navigate the entire feeling itself if, number one, you're not highly conscious of it, right? So it's very important for you to accept and make just affect the fact that this is how I feel, and it is very important for me to navigate this entire feeling such that after this moment I could be proud of myself. I could be proud of how I've navigated the entire experience itself, right? Because it's very unfortunate that life it is really disappointing, right? And things don't really always work out the way sifuna corner. So lately I've heard a story of a lady who got rejected by parents, right? So imagine being hated by your mother, imagine being hated by your parents. So I struggle to understand, how do you navigate that feeling? How do you deal with the fact that someone brought you to the world and now they hate you? Some, they were living with them, but they realized that really they just hated me. They just can't love me. Just the average mother out there who just loves their kids. So it is very important for us to work out on really the ability to understand how to work out on disappointment. I think those are just tragic experiences, and it does take time for someone to heal to such things, right? So but some of us just get disappointed in just simply life's pursuits and in the things you're trying to figure out. You failed an exam, this does happen, right? But it's very important for us to have this intent to work out on such things, so that we could just because I find that just the best versions of ourselves at the end of the tunnel, at the end of that feeling of disappointment, right? To work out on it such that we're just more proud because we've worked out on the entire disappointment experience itself. These are the 10 different techniques on working out on disappointment, because the truth is that we can't really run away from disappointment. It is a feeling. It is a feeling. It is highly closely tied to the individual self, right? So we can't really run away from that feeling. So the best thing is really the ability to work out on it, to see your way through it, so that at the end of the day you just highly preserve your hope and just have this intent to continue to other pursuits and just make peace with things, right? Yes, there's a lot of disappointment itself comes in different levels, right? And some of us have been disappointed half of our lives. With 3 months, just 2 months, with just one simple encounter that got us disappointed. And because of that, really, the period of disappointment itself, it differs, right? But these strategies will apply to different situations. Even if you were disappointed half of your life, you can still work out on understanding these strategies and actually apply them to your life, so that you could just be more at peace and just have this intent to fully live and refuse to be defeated by disappointment itself. Just have this intent really to work out on it, such that you could be proud of at the end of the day, such that this feeling itself, it doesn't trigger you to do more of other negative things, but really you can just turn it to advantage and work out more on doing quite a lot of things and just working out on them, and just have this intent to be more at peace with understanding that disappointment is just a feeling, right? You have to feel like that after a failed attempt, right? But it is important on how you work out on it. It is important for you to have the intent, to have the hope, to fully live, right? For an example, this lady who who says that they were rejected by their parents, by their parents. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to really work out on such things. What is it really? Because imagine you were rejected by your parents and you couldn't experience the love. So how do you move on without having experienced love from parents itself, the first people who are supposed to be taking care of you, showing you what love is? So how do you show love to your kids when you were actually rejected by your parents? It is quite a difficult situation to navigate on. So these are the strategies that will apply to all different situations in our lives, and we should just be truly intentional on really applying them to their lives, so that we could just attain the best versions of ourselves without really struggling and getting defeated by disappointment itself. Number one, it says that acceptance, right? So it is very important for you to understand that acceptance is a fundamental core of dealing with disappointment, right? Work out on understanding that this is my reality. Work out on accepting the fact that this is my reality in life, right? I can't change it. This is my reality for this moment, right? And that's fine. It is very important for you to just make peace with things, be truly at peace, accept the entire situation, accept the entire experience. So the moment you can accept things, it allows you to move to another level. It allows you to do different pursuits, to work out on things. You're now at a level where you no longer keep on blaming other people, but you fully take the burden. You take that burden to work out on and accepting the entire situation itself, and just make peace with it, that this is my reality and I have to work out on it, such that at the end of the day, I could be proud of myself with how I've navigated the entire situation. Yes, I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask to fail. I didn't ask to be rejected by parents. I didn't ask ukuthi bangishiye emjolweni, right? But it is important for me to accept my reality. But the most important part is really the intent to work out on my plans going forward, and just have this intent to fully accept the situation, to accept your reality, and just make peace with it without struggling in quite a lot of ways, without struggling and keeping on blaming other people, or just having this resentment towards that person. So it is very important for you to be truly intentional about accepting the entire situation. Even in the grieving process, the very most important stage is really the ability to accept. So acceptance is one thing that all of us suffer from, and yet we fail to accept it, right? We fail to accept the fact that it is very important for us to accept our reality, to just move on and be more at peace with the current situation. Number two is let it out, right? So by this I mean that it is very important for you to vent out your disappointment, right? Because when you get to that point where you can vent out your disappointment, it's either you write it down or you say it to someone. You could actually get a different perspective. You could actually get a way forward, because you realize that some of the things that you're going through, someone else have gone through those things. This is life. This is just life. Life ndiyithandela loo nto that whatever happens to you, it's not like it's the very first time yenzeka kuwena, or to it just happening in life itself. That's why amaXhosa athi esingcwabeni akwehlanga kungehlanga. So death is part of life, right? So it is very important for you to understand that you should let it out. You say it to the other person, or you write it down and just vent out your feelings, your disappointment experience itself, so that you could just work out on it. So because when you get to that point where you can share it with the other person, or you talk to someone about whatever that has gotten you disappointed, you could actually get to a point where you could have more hope for the better, have hope for the future itself, right? So it is very important for you to let it out. You write it down, or you tell someone. So I'm not really someone who likes to write my plans down. So what if they are PPP and then the other person that sees Wuti, this is what happens? No, I don't like doing that. So I think the best way for me now is to just say it to someone else. Wuti, this is what happened, this is the experience I've had, so ucinga ntoni ngaloo nto. And really it is that kind of situation yokuthi I get a different perspective. I get to see the entire situation differently, right? So Ryan Holiday has this saying that if you look at an obstacle from a different angle, it loses control over you, right? So you're trying to figure out different angles of looking up onto that of that disappointment experience you've had by talking to other people. So it is very important for you to let it out, or just venture to vent to the other person and just state how you feel. You'll realize that you might get a different perspective, and just so then this entire disappointment feeling in your body will just get to a point, it is just equalized, it is just neutralized, it's no longer that intense as it is. So number 3 says get perspective, right? So get a way forward from whatever experience you've had, right? So simply because you failed an exam, you failed whatever, it's not like it's the very first time kwenzeka that emhlabeni aqale ngawe. Do you understand? So it is very important for you to be more intentional about finding a way forward from that experience, right? So you can find a way forward by talking to other people, by sharing your experience with others, or just going to the internet on really working out on whatever it is that you were disappointed about, right? So it is very important for you to find a way forward as a person after that truly disappointing experience you've had. So it is very important for you to be truly intentional about finding a way forward. A way forward will give you something to focus on, which is very important for your brain, right? So if your brain has to be fully focused on something else, so that at some point you could just equalize this feeling of disappointment in your body, right? So it is very important, it is truly important for you to get perspective, right? To work out on the entire experience you've had, so that you don't really struggle emotionally. You get perspective from your parents or from whoever who maybe have had that particular experience. It is very important for you to be truly intentional to get perspective on whatever it is that you are trying to venture into, so that you work out on really the ability to deal with that disappointment and just move on, and just have this way forward to focus on what it is that you want to focus on going forward. Just have this intent to just focus on whatever it is that you deem as valuable for that moment, and what it is valuable for you to focus on, right? The 4 says that know your heart, balance external validation with your own inner wisdom, right? So it is very important for you to be more intentional about cultivating and working out on your wisdom as a person, just work out on your ability to engage better with life, right? It is very important, without really necessarily struggling to find or experience validation from other people. Be able when you did well, right? It is very important, without necessarily really expecting other people to give you so much validation. It is very important for you to work out on really appreciating yourself as a person. Understand and know that you are truly God's greatest achievement, and you're not here to please anyone. You're here to please yourself. So work out on really understanding wisdom and understanding life itself, and give that yourself those applause, right? Just and appreciate life itself, just balance the entire validation itself with yourself and those of other people. Don't expect too much from other people, because you will struggle in quite a lot of things. People at some point, they never really have time to validate us, and that is a fact. They won't flatter you, my darling. They won't flatter you. They don't really have time for such things. People are busy working out on their struggles in life, right? So there's just less of people out here who are just ready to compliment you, to flatter you when you did well, to just give you this ease. People are struggling with quite a lot of things. They don't really have time to give validation to other people. That's the saddest part. So if you're trying to expect too much from other people, to expect that they should validate you, they should give you an applause, no, they won't. It is very important for you to focus on yourself and just be still inside and just cultivate your own wisdom as a person. So in really the ability to work out on your disappointment, it is very important for you to understand that number 5, commit to what you can control. This is very important. I can't emphasize this enough, right? Because it is very important for you to fully focus on that which you have control over, right? You don't really have control over the fact that you got embarrassed or whatever, right? But you have control of where you are as a person. If manje so sending, but whatever happened is or wherever, but now you're at your place. What you can control is that which is before you. It is before your conscious mind. Dandapani emphasizes this so much, right? But you have control of what it is that is before your conscious mind, of what things that are before you for that moment, right? So, and the things that you can work out on. It is very important for you to understand that what it is that you can control over is very important. Just work out on really this intent to commit to what it is you can control, and without struggling in quite a lot of things, without struggling trying to think what other people think about yourself, but you fully focus on that which we have control over, to just have this degree of control in the things that you actually have control over, and struggle less with what you think other people perceive, or how the other people perceive you. So it is very important for you to work out on really the things you can control in your circle, in your space, right? On that which is before your conscious mind, without really struggling in quite a lot of ways, right? So it is very important really for you to work out on commitment, committing to what you can control, because now you will eliminate a lot of anxiety. You will struggle less emotionally because you can fully focus your energy to that which you can control. Number 6 says that let go of expectations, right? It is very important for you to have this intent to not have too much expectations from other people. It is very important that in whatever pursuit you fully focus on the process and not necessarily the prize, right? It is very important for you to fully focus on really what it is that you have to be doing for that moment, so that you avoid a level of disappointment, you avoid struggling emotionally, feeling sadness simply because you will get disappointed, you will just get overwhelmed, right? So it is very important for you to fully focus on the process itself of whatever it is that you're planning, or you fully focus on what it is that matters for that moment, and not necessarily have so much expectations from things that at some point is just out of your control, right? Don't have so much expectations for people to validate you, to approve you. No, just have this intent of really the ability to work out on yourself as a person, and not really have too much expectations from other people, because people are so disappointing, right? Just let go of expectations and fully focus on the process itself, and when you get to that point, you would have gotten there anyway, right? So it is very important in anything that you're busy with. It's either a relationship, academic studies, or whatever it is, right? You fully focus on the process and not really so much overwhelming, and not overwhelm yourself with too much expectations, but you fully focus on the process itself. So number 7 says that what you focus on, you feel and you become, right? So I think I've mastered this one, because I have this intent of really, after having an awkward experience, I can be able to just have this intent to just listen to music or just watch something that will make me feel at ease, right? So that is how you neutralize your feelings, your emotions in your body, right? And it's such a beautiful thing. So it is very important for you, after that feeling of disappointment, have this intent of focusing on whatever it is that you want for that moment, right? You try to focus on something different so that you can have a different experience, to have a different feeling, right? Do something that you like, or you spend time with your child. Do something that will make you be at ease, because now whatever it is that you focus on, you feel and you become, right? So if you keep focusing on that disappointing experience you've thought, yes, you've had, but yes, you will keep thinking about it, because I think I get it's still new in your body, your brain itself, and it has encountered a new reality, right? So yes, you are allowed to keep thinking about that negative disappointment or that encounter, but it is very important for you to understand that time will help you adjust from that feeling. You just try to get to a point where you can neutralize that feeling in your body. You now feel less angry or anxious, or just struggling emotionally, simply because of that experience, by trying to listen, doing the things that you love for this moment, right? You work out on different things, but they just focus on what it is that you have to be doing for that moment. That's how you eliminate the burden of struggling with disappointment, of struggling emotionally as a person. It is very important for you to be truly intentional on what it is that you focus on after that tragic, after that disappointment, right? So that's how you balance to live a life that is just highly conscious. You just, on an average day, at least you're truly a genuinely happy person, and you're not struggling emotionally, because you can control what it is that you focus on. You have that right. It is a right you have as a person, and if you don't utilize that privilege, you will keep struggling in quite a lot of things. You will struggle because you don't understand that you've got the privilege to focus on the things that you want as a person, without really struggling, because now you've had a disappointing moment, or just a tragic experience, or whatever, right? So you have this intent to focus on the things that matter to your life. You invest your energy to such things, right? If you want to do that, whatever you want to try for the second time in that relationship or academic stuff, you can, right? But the most important thing is really the intent. After that experience of really getting disappointed, you work out on the ability to fully focus on that which is before your conscious mind, because that is what you will become, right? You have a choice on how to dictate your feelings in your body without necessarily nursing disappointment. Number 8 says that let go of the past, reframe the experience to a positive way, right? So it is very important in your pursuits towards life to just let go of the past, right? Yes, it is very important for you to just rehash the past and think what it is that you should be learning from the past, right? And then, but the most important thing is the ability to project the future, to project what it is that you should be doing, and at least just be fully present, and then the intent to project, right? But living in the past as such a truly traumatic way of living. You should not in the past. That's the worst thing you could ever do as a person. Into zayizolo zizinto zayizolo, ziyekele nezolo. Do you understand? Just fully focus on what it is before your conscious mind, and that which at least it is in the future, because that which you can control, it's only those two. You can't control your past. You can't dictate that things should be different in your past, right? But what it is that you can control over is really the presence, right? And that which you want to wear in the direction rather you want to go to as a person, right? So you don't really you have little to no control over the past. People who you think maybe they did you wrong in the past, you don't really have control over such things. It is very important for you to that in your mind you resolve such things, and you have this intent to deal with yourself, to deal with your traumatic experiences without really demanding that maybe you have to revenge yourself from those people. Just fully focus on building yourself as a person in the presence, and really finding the best version of yourself going forward, right? It is very important for you to be truly intentional on working out on such things as a person, because really we have the most important thing is to just derive lessons from the past that will help us and strengthen us going forward, because I said that life is just a learning experience. We should just continue to have this intent to learn, right? So the most important thing as well is to reframe the experience to a positive way. So Ryan Holiday talks about this, the ability to turn adversity to advantage. Ever since I've learned that book, on that book where he talks about the obstacle is the way, right? Ever since I've learned that book, I realized that I have less struggles in life, simply because in whatever situation I encounter, I can really turn that situation to my advantage. I don't really have to be nursing that experience. No, load shedding, I can't do anything. No, I have this intent to work out on different strategies so that I understand that the obstacle itself is the way, right? So it is very important for you to turn whatever experience you had to a positive way, so that you could just be fully live, so that you could just fully live and not really be hindered by obstacles. Or mang said this, I then go traffic department to try to do my license. No, you don't. You understand that the obstacle is the way. It is very important for you to prove to yourself that you can actually do the things that you're supposed to be doing for yourself without really so much struggling and demanding validation from other people. But the most important thing is really the intent to turn that disappointing feeling, that disappointment experience, to a positive way and work out on it. That's how you prove to yourself really that you can never be defeated by people, by disappointment itself. You actually govern your life. You have the intent to work out your life the way uifuna corner, right? It is such a beautiful way to live. So it is very important for you to just learn to reframe the entire disappointing experience itself. Just have this intent to work out on such things, and you just be more at peace, because you know that on your side you are trying, right? Yes, the universe responds the way pendulanga corner, but on your side you are trying, and by that you are covered. And that's the most important thing, to fully focus on your potential, right? No matter the outcome, whatever the outcome or whatever, but the most important thing is really the ability to fully focus on what it is that you're doing, and you don't allow disappointment feelings and different other emotions which are just might cause you so much anxiety or whatever. But you have this intent to understand that you have a degree of control to defeat such things and just be the emperor of your own life. Number 9 says that be kind to yourself. I can't emphasize this enough. It is such a beautiful way to live a life in which you are truly kind to yourself. You're just truly kind in that experience of disappointment, right? In that experience, in that feeling of disappointment, you understand that the most important thing is that I tried my best. That's the most important part. Yes, I may have failed, the relationship may have failed, whatever may have happened, but the most important part is that on my side, I tried to my level best. That's the most important thing. Just say kind words to yourself. Encourage yourself. Make peace with things that are just beyond your control, because really at the end of the day you can only control yourself. You can't control the other people. If people want to work away from you, you don't have a choice. Right? And in any pursuit, in that feeling of disappointment, if you could be able to just be kind to yourself, be gentle to yourself. Don't really have this intent to be too hard on yourself, because I realized that this feeling of us getting so hard on ourselves, it comes from the fact that we're comparing ourselves with other people. We're comparing ourselves with people who have different stories than we have, right? So that's where the comparison starts, because you're like, no, I'm 25, I should be driving a car. And like, no, there's no such, right? The most important thing is the ability to truly be kind to yourself. Understand that I am exactly where I'm meant to be. The most important thing is to be truly at peace and be kind and be gentle to yourself. And if you weren't really smart by yourself as a person, academically or in whatever, and you can't really demand stuff from people who were academically smart at school, right? You should understand that your position is where you are, and you just fully embrace that. You appreciate that. You are kind to yourself as a person, right? So Jordan Peterson says that compare yourself with who you were yesterday and not to whom someone else is today, right? So we see these different people who have glamorous lives, really, and we wish that maybe whatever they have, we could have it. But the fact is that their story is completely different from us, right? And we don't really know where they were yesterday. Maybe they probably have had privileges we've never really had, right? But when you're trying to compare your life with that person, and yet really you never really had such privileges, right? It's academic privilege and all these things. And you can't really try to compare your life with such a person. And even as well, with the talents you have as a person, they're completely different to what that person does have. So you don't really have a choice to you don't really need to be trying to compare yourself with other people. The most important thing is really the intent to be kind to yourself and be gentle to yourself. And if you can do that, trust me, your life will be very simple. Your life will be you will, on an average day, you will be truly a happy type of person, because you've stopped comparing yourself with other people. You are more at peace with where you are as a person. You appreciate yourself. You don't judge yourself to a bigger extent. Imagine judging yourself simply because people of your age are doing this. No, you don't have to. You don't have a reason for such things. The most important thing is really the ability to work out on your life. Just be more at peace at exactly where you are. But at the end of the day, working out on disappointment is a very powerful technique in really the ability to just be kind to yourself as a person without really struggling and just having so much misery simply because you're trying to compare with yourself with other people. So the most important thing is the ability to be truly kind to yourself. And if you can't be kind to yourself, who will you be kind to? Who's this person is entitled to your kindness if you can't really offer that kindness to yourself? Number 10, which is the last point, says that look forward to tomorrow, right? So in that experience of disappointment, it is very important for you to accept that feeling and have this intent to work out on what it is that you hope for tomorrow, right? Just have this intent of really understand that akwehlanga kungehlanga lento yenzekileyo, it's not the very first time yenzeka, right? It's not like I'm the very first person to fail a license, right? But it's very important for you to just work out on really the ability to just be more at peace as a person and understand that you want to make your live your life in which you're fully focused and in the presence and being forward and just doing things with a different perspective, a perspective that is focused on forward and not live your life backwards. That's the most traumatic experience you could ever give yourself, if you live your life from the past. No, you can't be doing that to yourself, right? So it is very important for you to be fully focused on the intent to live your life forward, right? You forward on what you see for yourself for the future, right? So it is truly important for you to live a life in which you're just fully focused to figure out different ways, different strategies on working out for your tomorrow, the things that you're supposed to be doing. It is such a beautiful thing, really, to live a life in which you just highly present with it, and you fully focus on what it is that you should be doing for the next day. You're fully focused as well in the presence. It is such a beautiful feeling. It is such a beautiful experience, and to live a life like that, because now you struggle less with, you're just less overwhelmed as a person. You struggle less in quite a lot of things, simply because you've mastered the ability to fully embrace the presence. And when you're able to embrace the presence as well, ultimately you can dictate your future, you can dictate your tomorrow, you can dictate how you want to experience yourself tomorrow, right? So it is very important for you to be truly intentional on really working out on. After that experience of disappointment, you should be able to look forward to tomorrow, and that is how you neutralize that feeling itself, so that it does not become too intense, right? But you just have this intent to work out on experiencing the presence and wishing the best for tomorrow in quite a lot of different things that you might be doing as a person, and different pursuits and quite a lot of things. Because yes, you might have a failed relationship, but at the end of the day, you still have life, you still have whatever to things, you still have quite a lot of things that are your desires. Then you should have this intent to fully focus on different aspects of your life, because at the end of the day, not everything will be perfect, right, in your life. No, it does not necessarily, not everything has to be perfect, right? So it is very important for you to be truly intentional on working out on disappointment itself, navigate that experience such that you don't really have to harm other people in the process. Because now, even if now when you harm other people, you will, at the end of the day, you will be responsible for quite a lot of things, quite a lot of traumas from other people blaming you, because now when you've had that experience that is just actually was truly unfair to you. But the best thing is really the ability to work out on disappointment itself, and just be more at peace with the entire feeling itself, and try to neutralize it instead. So it says here, but remember, disappointment isn't all that bad, right? In fact, it provides information about the way you view yourself and the way around you, right? It helps you understand what's important to you, right? So disappointment is really that feeling that helps you, that reintroduces yourself to yourself, right? It is a feeling that helps you understand yourself better, because it tells you clearly what it is that matter to you, right? So it says that indeed, when we face failures and disappointment, we must not sit down and despair forever. Instead, we must find the reason for our disappointment and learn to grow from it. So that's the most important thing, the ability to find growth in that pursuit, in that experience, right? In that feeling, right? Just work out on it. Just have this intent to work out on it, to turn adversity to advantage, to grow from that experience itself, and not really see it as a negative fact, right? So I want to share with you a quote by Martin Luther King. He says that we must accept finite disappointment, but never infinite hope, right? So it is very important for us to accept that disappointment for this has come to an end. I accept it. I'm at peace with it, right? But at the end of the day, you never lose hope for infinite hope. For infinite hope, the never-ending hope, right? So we should never really get to a point where we lose hope as a people. The most important thing is to preserve hope. That's how you live. That's how you sustain yourself and climbing those mountains, and just fully live and attain the best versions of yourself as a person, right? So that's it. We've come to the end of this beautiful conversation. I truly and deeply thank you for joining me in this wonderful conversation today. I hope I've been able to help you navigate the entire disappointment feeling itself, to understand that disappointment is a feeling that allows you, that gives you the opportunity to turn adversity to advantage, to grow from that experience, right? So it is not necessarily, it is not entirely a negative experience, right? So it is very important how you navigate that feeling itself, so that you don't really get yourself into trouble going forward, but you can turn that entire experience in a positive manner, so that you could just fully live as a person, and you refuse to be defeated by disappointment, right? You fully focus on yourself and just have this intent to just learn from really awkward feelings, right? So even Jordan Peterson says this, that we learn things painfully, right? You won't learn anything if you don't learn how to navigate these feelings, such as disappointment and many others, right? So it is very important for you to be truly intentional on working out on these things. And I truly and wish you the best out of life itself. If you haven't joined our community, please do make sure that you subscribe to our channel, you hit the notification bell, you like, you comment, and just engage in all our conversations. I truly and deeply thank you for joining me in this beautiful conversation. I truly wish you the best out of life, and may you find this courage to fully live, to be fully present with your life. I truly and deeply thank you so much. Bye.